And we're live.
Ta-da! We're
Ta-da.
back again, episode
Happy
3.
Friday. Welcome to the weekend. How's it been?
The week has merited a weekend. That's what I can tell you, Andrew. Let's put it that way. Okay. So we're very grateful it's Friday, and I'm sure everybody out there is as well.
24 hours ago, I was going to call you and say, should we not bother this week? There's nothing going on. And then all of a sudden, stuff happened.
Everything happened, Andrew. And by the way, almost entirely watch-related. So big shift from the Luce discussion of last week.
Oh, no. Oh, you clearly haven't seen the latest
I have.
plan. Well, oh, no, there's some cars to talk about as well. Should we get right into it?
Let's do it. Go.
How do I do this?
Do you want me to introduce this, given you're coughing your lungs out?
I have a bit of a cough. As a quick aside, regular viewers might remember the most popular Talking Hands episode we ever did was related to, we were reviewing the new Rolex Explorer 2, and we had all of our Rolexes in the background.
Our personal stuff.
Yeah. So of course, all the Rolex fans flocked, and it was our most popular talking. But I think that's also the video where I had this hacking cough that ruined the entire audio. There's nothing I could do about it. And it's a little bit like that today, so apologies in advance if I'm hacking.
We'll be tolerant.
Story number 1.
All right, Andrew. Do you remember the time before last I talked to Naoya Hida?
Yes, I fell in love with this little micro Japanese brand.
Yes, you did. Okay, and here's the great thing. It took only 2 weeks for us to be able to come back, not just with a new release from the brand itself, but a very unusual and unexpected co-branding with Zenith. So it's not just that they co-branded with Zenith, they have used Zenith's caliber 135, Andrew, which of course, nobody outside of a sock drawer enthusiast is actually gonna have any idea what the hell that means.
No, but there's a lot of respect for Zenith movements in the industry.
You got, okay, so yeah.
Not least the El Primero, right?
The El Primero, I had an Abel Chrono 1911 that had the El Primero movement, and of course that's the one that was used by the Daytona, Rolex Daytona, Cosmograph. But in this case, Andrew, the 135 caliber received, just dozens of awards when it first came out. It's nothing like the Swiss to celebrate themselves and their own movement and all that shit. But what happens here, and the meeting between East and West, is that Naoya Hida himself has been a long time...
Is that him?
No, that's not him.
That's just a Japanese man, is it?
Yeah, yes. I don't know who this gentleman is, Andrew. I haven't been to the factory.
Okay.
All right. So anyway, so the founder of the brand...
I thought I'd timed that perfectly. You mentioned his name.
The founder of the brand has been a lover of the caliber 135 for a very long time. He's spoken about it beforehand. And lo and behold, Zenith rocks up and says, my good man, if we supply you with the caliber, could you make us a number of pieces and we'll co-brand it? Which is, Andrew, the whole concept of co-branding, whether it's a retailer and a watch brand or 2 watch brands, has always been very cherished and very prized in the vintage watch collectors circles. So it's got all that going for it. It's astounding. It's an incredible piece. I'm very curious to get your take on what you think of the aesthetics. But this is superlative stuff. And by the way, so it should be, because they only made 10 of them and they retailed for 70,000 euros, Andrew. All platinum.
You're using the past tense. I thought this had just come out.
Sold out, dude. Sold out immediately. Everybody jumped at it. Like a limited edition Ferrari, et cetera, ad nauseum. But in this case, I bloody well understand why they wanted to let out this level of dosh for this piece.
Okay, so the advance, if I'm a excuse me, if I'm a it's going to be one of those episodes, I apologize. So if I'm a paying customer, the advantage to me is the movement. That's the Zenith contribution. Is that right? The styling is all done.
I would say, Andrew, primarily yes. But it's not inconsequential. I think this is the real hat tip to Zenith and Naoya Hida, that they found each other. Nobody would have expected a brand with Zenith's level of visibility and recognition to go after this lovely little micro brand that's been around since the 90s in Japan.
I'm not sure that's true. I'd actually argue that Zenith is one of these brands that desperately needs a little bit more recognition and brand awareness, because of sure the real watch nerds know them, but I think the marketplace as a whole, Zenith is not a particularly well-known brand. So this is, I think this is great for both of them from a brand marketing perspective. They're both getting what the other sort of needs.
Yeah, I mean, although I'd argue, and we'll get to it maybe in a second when you ask me to give you the but bit of this segment, it's rare to see co-branding like this, period. And I think that's not inconsequential. Beyond that, let's be frank, this is a beautifully crafted piece, and it sports one of the most seminal movements ever made. So I totally get why 10 people said 70 grand is a bargain.
70 grand is in keeping with their normal pricing, because after I got so excited about this when you introduced me to this brand a couple of weeks ago, I've been on their site and I've had a proper look, and this time I brought my calculator, so the millions of yen I could actually convert. Okay. And so guess what? 70 grand is kind of the that's where they're operating.
All right, so hold on.
It's on the high end. They started about 20, 30, 40, I think.
All right, I'm going to, by the way, I took out my calculator as well, Andrew. It turns out that both you and I thought there might be some advantage. Oh, I'm sorry, not 70, 66, right? Who's splitting hairs? Anyway, book an appointment for something that's sold out. Yeah, we get it. But Andrew, your discussion about the pricing for Naoya Hida leads me to my butt bit of this segment. So this would be fabulous were it not for, can I ask you to open up the tab? Here we go. The Naoya Hida Type 8A. Now, let's start with the money, Andrew. This retails for about 19,000 euros. They ain't giving it away. Let's be clear about it.
Does it? Are you sure?
I'm 100%. I did the calculation. I actually used my brain before this segment.
Okay, then this is already a no-brainer.
So, look at this. Now, tell me conceivably that aesthetically, the Zenith Naoya Hida collaboration really trounces this number. Look at this.
No, of course not. This is a much better looking watch.
Well, frankly, I agree. Look at the hands, the blued hands. It's gorgeous. You get the same dial hand carved.
It makes this look very dull and a little too modern.
I'm with you. I'm with you. And I think that's where there's a slight slip up, is trying to make the connection between the two brands, I think somebody on the Zenith side had a little too much influence, and not for the better.
Listen, I totally agree. I saw the Zenith thing. I thought, why would you? I would just go straight to Naoya Hida.
Naoya Hida.
That's what I said. And buy something from them directly. Zenith ain't bringing anything of any interest to the party here from my perspective. Yes, I get the movements. But what do these guys use as their movement? Presumably they buy something in.
Yeah, they buy something in, Andrew, and then they heavily rework it. But it's not an in-house movement. So, for a lot of these collector stocky types, they're going to go, ooh, I get a caliber 135 from Zenith, and how great am I? Because nobody else is using it.
Not for the first time. I'm going to say something a little bit controversial in the watch nerd world. I don't much care about movements.
You don't much care about movements?
Movement. I mean,
I get why.
Up to a point. But I don't know. Well, I'm much more interested in how the thing looks, and as long as you got something in there that's reliable and it's going to be accurate-ish, that's pretty much enough for me.
Andrew, I'm with you. And I think anybody who's been watching us back from the days of Talking Hands will know it's exactly that. We've never been the kind of guys who will spend 20 minutes talking to you about beveling and bridges and finishings and so forth. It's not that we don't appreciate it, but it's not why I buy a watch. I buy a watch to look at it, and to occasionally have other people take a look as well.
My AP, my Royal Oak, as you know, had an exhibition back, and I certainly took some moments of pleasure, some moments to myself, some quiet moments to myself, where I would admire the movement, and there's certainly a sense of a pride of ownership, and you think this is something special.
For sure.
But what did you say this was? 20K?
I said it was 19,000.
Well, let's round it up to 20. If you tell me I can have this for 20 or this for 66, it's just a no-brainer, isn't it?
It is, Andrew. We agree. Now, listen. Come on, we're running out of time.
Yes, we are. We're running a bit. Okay, so that's that. Now, we talked about the Polestar 5 last episode as an example of good EV car design when we were talking about that Ferrari abomination thing. And we didn't plan it like this, but this week, all of the embargoes broke on the reviews. So all of a sudden, all the main channels, YouTube, websites, etc., have got their reviews in of what this thing is actually like to drive. You've got to love the Swedes. What they've done, I don't know if you know about this, as their PR stunt is that they've taken a bunch of these Polestar 5s and they're driving them from Sweden to the Sahara.
The Sahara, I've seen it.
In the Sahara, there is this incredible sun-powered electricity generator, and that's where they're going. So it's such a wonderful stunt because at each stage of the journey, they're getting different motoring journalists and influencers to drive the car and report it. So you're seeing lots of different mini road trips hitting YouTube. You're really getting a sense of the car. Spoiler alert, universally, I haven't seen a single negative review of this thing. Everybody loves it. Yeah. And I'm so grateful because from the moment I lay eyes on this thing, I was in love with this car. Same. And I'm so pleased that the actual the driving reviews have now come in and no one has a negative thing to say about it. It's stunning.
Okay. And by the way, Andrew, I'll chime in by repeating what you just said. It is stunning. It's how you do it right. It's how you don't slavishly follow a design heading, but you care about what people are left with as an impression. This is the kind of car you'd walk away from and you'd look back again and again, probably. We can't say that about the prancing, farting horse that came up last week.
We can't. And I was struggling. I was struggling to criticize it in some way, and I genuinely can't. Now, this has something to do with the stage of life that you and I are both at, i.e.,
for sure,
we still want performance. We still care about how the cars look. But hey, it's quite useful to have a couple of seats in the back where huge, great teenagers can actually be comfortable on an 8-hour drive down to Provence. So, so that that sort of matters. And with that context, I can't think of a better car. I just can't. It does everything so well.
It's Andrew, where I think you and I were just having such a hard time with the Ferrari, the integrity and the cohesiveness of this car are powerful beyond measure. I'd argue even above and beyond design and so forth. It so understands what it is, what it's about, and what it's aimed as, that you never get any sense of confusion, only a sense of pure harmony. And I love it for that. I really, really do respect it.
It's fast. It's absolutely stunning to look at. It's well made. The performance, I don't just mean the acceleration, which is relatively easy to do on electric cars, but I mean how the thing actually handles.
Yeah.
By all accounts, is incredible too.
All right. Everybody knows that we love the Polestar 5.
And the guys in the back, look at that. Wouldn't you love to sit in the back of that car and have your son drive you to Provence next year?
One point, I know we can have this is a big discussion for another episode, but any time for me that you don't have a rear window, I've got a bit of a problem with it. I know that they've got the panoramic roof, Andrew, which goes just above over your head, but don't tell me that headrest is not pretty jammed up against the C-pillar and the ceiling. It's quite
It not only is it not jammed up against it, but you can actually recline those seats. You can recline them.
You mean further into the dark?
Yeah, just like in my Polestar 4. But believe me, it's one of the most comfortable places to be. Well, the Polestar 4 is, and I can't imagine that this isn't even better.
All right.
It's just.
All right. Do you think maybe Polestar should invite us next time down to the goddamn Sahara?
So funny you should say that. They haven't invited me to the Sahara, but I am going on a driving day in a couple of weeks' time. It's a it's a meetup in a pub down in Surrey or something, and it's for existing owners, and we get to drive the new cars. So I will report back.
And you're going to drive the 5?
I certainly hope so. It's the only reason I signed up. I don't want to drive the 4. I do that every day. So
listen, you let me know. I'm very curious, Andrew.
Yeah.
I know that before you bought your 4, what you said to me was, "I want the 5," and then
of
you
course
bought the 4.
But hey, it's worth noting. This is substantially more expensive than the 4, and some people are going, "Oh, it's a bit pricey because if you get the performance version, it's over 100K. I think it's nudging 110 or something like that." But guess what? That's only expensive until you line it up to the equivalent Taycan, with the same kind of performance, and then it looks cheap as chips.
I'm with you, and that's probably 50% more anyway.
Yeah. Once you've optioned the same level of options and performance, this thing's a bargain.
We agree.
So and I would argue much better looking than the Taycan, more interesting, much more character.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Hold on. A Taycan in base spec with the right wheels is automotive sculpture. I love this car, but it's a more cerebral kind of design. The Taycan for me is much more visceral. It's much more beautiful.
I choose this over a Taycan any day of the week.
Okay, thanks for coming.
Thank you. Let's move on. Okay, this is a story that I am genuinely excited about. I found the mute button on my mic. That's the only good thing about this coughing.
Oh, wonderful. We can watch you but not hear you. It's great.
So, Eric, as you know, for not just months but years, I have been umming and ahhing about the Black Bay Chrono, the white dial. Sorry, the black dial white subdials. No, I want the white dial with the black.
White dial black subdials.
Is that a Panda or a reverse Panda? I don't know. Anyway, that's And why do I want this?
I should know this. Panda is black on white, so black subdials on white.
Okay, so it's a Panda. So I want the Panda. And I've been to the Tudor dealership more than once. I've had it on my wrist. I've had the AD say to me, by the way, for all their talk of scarcity and how these things are hard to get, I didn't even have it on my wrist before the AD started telling me about what discounts she could offer if I wanted to buy that day. So they're available. They are great looking. They are not particularly expensive when it comes down to it, when you line it up next to a Speedmaster or a Daytona. But something had always just held me back, just niggled at me. There is, of course, the perception, and this is not what's held me back, but there is, the perception that, oh yeah, you bought it because you couldn't get yourself a Daytona.
Yeah, agreed.
I'm over that. I'm very comfortable embracing Tudor. And I genuinely think that this is a different watch to the Daytona. I don't think it's trying to mimic. Of course, it has vintage Daytona vibes, but it's not. It's a different thing.
Agreed.
No, the thing that was holding me back was that it was just ever so slightly too chunky, and it made the watch feel just a little bit too much like a sort of cheap fashion watch. That's doing it a disservice, but it just a little. You know what I mean?
It is what it is, Andrew.
And so I couldn't pull the trigger on it.
Okay.
Well, this week, was it yesterday? I think this happened. Maybe the day before. They released this. This is a scaled down version of the Black Bay. So the original is 41 mils. This is 39. That's not the interesting bit for me. The interesting bit is that they have also reduced the height of it.
Yes.
It is less thick. It's the same movement. It's the same amazing, is it the B1 movement that they get from Breitling for the Chrono? Very well respected movement, but it's thinner. And I guess they must have somehow elevated the movement in the case. I guess it's closer to the glass. I don't know what magic they've used to thin the case out, but they've done it.
Okay.
So for all intents and purposes, it's the same watch, except it's thinner. The only other change they've made of any substance is they've also made the snowflake hand, the hour hand, slightly smaller, not just in length, but overall. And I think the reason for that is a lot of people complained that on a Chrono, this huge, great hour hand could obscure the subdials so much as to make the Chrono unusable at certain times of the day. It's a fair point. It never bothered me because
you never used the Chrono.
But so they fixed that as well. And the other change they've made, and I actually don't like this change, but it's what people have been asking for. They got rid of the faux rivets on the bracelet. So it's now as close as anything to an oyster bracelet. Oh, and it's bright yellow.
Yeah, I was wondering how long it was going to take you to say something about that, because they didn't call it the bumblebee for nothing, dude.
Okay, look, I'm not into the bright yellow, and I'm not suggesting for a second that I would buy this model, but it's pretty clear that they're not going to stop here. Yeah. I don't believe that this is a one-off size. This is an experiment. You know, they're letting this out, seeing what happens. I predict it's going to sell like crazy, not because of the bright yellow dial, despite it, but because they have right-sized this watch at last.
Yes.
Phenomenal.
And Andrew, I'm with you on all of that stuff. In fact, actually, you and I, we could sit here and rip the yellow dial until the bee lost its wings. But let's be generous about it. We're going to put that to one side because...
Oh, listen, I don't hate the yellow dial. It's not for me. I wouldn't spend my own money on it, but it's it is what it is.
Please, just get out of my face. Give me the dials that I want, and then I'll stick with you. But what I like about what you said is, you know, this continuous refinement. We're getting closer to what we always wanted to be, which is competitive in its own space and in its own right. Stop being the cheap man's, you know, Rolex. Start being a proper Tudor. And everything you just cited as the incremental advances that they have made are making it what it should have been from the start. By the way, they ain't giving it away, Andrew. Yeah, I mean the movement. You know, I mean the cost is still.
Listen, what do you mean they're not giving it? Okay, first of all, 13.1 mils. Yeah. That's down from 14.5, I think, for the existing model. So it's substantial reduction. They're not giving it away, you say?
6, 7.
That's okay.
All right. I mean, you know,
for a COSC certified chrono movement from Rolex, basically, that looks this good. I think that's a very honest. I think all Tudor pricing is very honest. I wonder how long it's going to stay that way. Okay. I think they can only go up.
Yeah. Now look. So two things I mentioned about the pricing point. The first is these Tudors lose 30% of their value the second you walk out of the store with it. Okay. The second you walk out, it's down 30%.
You're right on the whole, but with one exception, and I don't understand this, it's insanity to me, but the novelty colored Black Bay Chrono dials have kept their value. You know, there's a turquoise and there's a crazy flamingo pink. They, for some reason I will never understand, have retained their value on the secondhand market.
I mean, because you have to be nuts and have a lot of money to buy them. But but where we're approaching, I think, and you've touched on this, is it can only get more expensive because the second, Andrew, they start putting a black dial on this or a white dial, we are talking killer territory. And just as a reminder, I think it was maybe, I know it's 20 years ago, but when I bought a Daytona on the secondary market, I paid €7,500 for it. This is clocking in at $6,900. And like you rightfully said, I suspect the right dial versions will only go up.
Well, I was talking when I said that I was talking about the prices that Tudor themselves are going to charge. I mean, I think they're going to edge their way up closer to Rolex prices over time. But yes, and on the secondhand market, you're right. Now, what did I just say? 13.1?
Yeah, you said 13.1 width, down from 14.5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that looks great. There is, however, if you're picky about these things, there's a small problem, and it's this. The Daytona is so desirable for so many reasons. Also undesirable for other reasons. It's overhyped, and there's a certain type of person who wears a Daytona, which I'm not in love with. But on the whole, this is an incredible watch. And here's an interesting factoid for you. Yeah. Rolex themselves don't even advertise on their website the best thing about this watch. Notice there are no measurements for the thickness of the case.
I hear you. Interesting.
They don't publicize it. You've got to dig deep.
And?
I did research. 11.9.
Okay. Andrew, that's why it wears well. But that's
why it wears so. It's such a desirable watch because it's because it's thin.
So, all right,
You
yeah,
look at it in photos and you think, oh, it's a big chunky steel sports watch. Yeah, but also no, because you put it on and it just disappears.
yeah, except you
It's
need 4 or 5 times the amount for the Tudor to get yourself a Daytona. But then again, the Daytona is for life. I think a Tudor is going to be a great watch for a while or part of a bigger collection. But you could just have the Daytona, Andrew, and die a happy man or woman.
you just said something very interesting about Tudor, or at least you've implied it. It's not for life, and I think that is true. These are watches that you buy because they're so hard to resist. But can you say hand on heart, I'm going to keep this forever?
Yeah.
Probably not, right?
Yeah.
Probably not. My FXD feels like a forever watch because it's got, I bought it for a big birthday and it's got, the year inscribed on the back and all of that, and it matters to me for lots of reasons. But as a whole, yeah, I don't know. Yeah. That said, when they bring out the white dial version of this, and they inevitably will, it's only a question of time.
You're going to line up.
I'm going to be shit out of excuses, I think.
Here's to that wonderful day, my friend. All right, okay. What's next?
Let's move on. This is one from you, and you've got some explaining to do.
Oh my God. Okay, guys, pause for a moment. Can we just soak that in? Forget the Timex bit. A lot of you are going to get angry. Oh, what are we doing? Forget the quartz bit. Forget all that bullshit. Look at it. It's killer. This is an absolutely killer piece of design from Timex that, as far as I'm concerned, is the best budget brand on the market right now. They outdo Tissot, and I was one of the early adopters of their little PRX numbers.
Oh, you've been a tit for tat, a tat for tit.
You know time. It. But Andrew, I go both ways. Don't worry about it.
Oh, you definitely swing both ways.
So, but Andrew, what I wanted to share with you is that good design dispenses with branding. Good design doesn't need to explain the movement to you. Good design doesn't need to have a co-branding exercise. Good design doesn't give a shit what your prejudice is. It simply sits there and says, see this? See me? All yours, in this case, get ready for it, for $700. You can own this piece of magnificence, right? With a guilloche little dial. Yes, it's stamped, who cares? Yes, it supports movement. It's got a curved sapphire crystal. It's got a titanium case. They've hollowed out the sides, Andrew. You get this rubber strap with it. Look at this piece. It's got such freaking presence.
What's the bezel made out of?
That's a very good question. No idea. Metal?
Yeah, it does. In this shot, it looked like it might be sapphire or something. It was a bit shiny.
But Andrew, can we just, if you take a minute and you look at the symmetry and you look at the proportions of it, in all the ways that you and I just spent a lot of time dissecting what doesn't work on the Tudor and why you just hesitate a bit, and could they get this right, and can we have an incremental improvement? Timex goes, oh, fuck all that noise. Why don't we just make it right from the start? And bang, there you go. I think this is irresistible. I think anybody would be stupid to resist something like this. It's awesome.
I feel I could resist quite easily.
Oh, you can say, Andrew, look, come on, look at the details on this thing. That's a proper piece of design. And because it says Timex on it, and because somebody may go, yeah, that Atelier in the scripted font, we won't look at. This is all noise. It's an incredible piece, and at $700, I can't think of anything better on this entire podcast.
I was going to give you a hard time over this, but I think you've kind of won me over a bit.
Ooh. Come on, JJ, look right there. Look at the dial. Do you see the details on that?
No, listen, okay. I genuinely, I was going to give you a hard time and tell you it was tat, as is your habit. But it's hard to argue against. It is lovely design. It's very clean. Everything you've just said is true. I just don't want a $600 quartz Timex.
I get it. By the way, that's very regrettable to me because I'm wearing vintage, Japanese quartz. And for a lot of people, that's
very regrettable to me too.
Yeah, I
wish you'd go out and buy yourself a real watch.
And by the way, I forgive you, my son, Dominus Omus.
But I want the best for you, Eric. We've been friends for many years, and listen, you're a man of means. Please go out into the adult world and buy yourself a real watch.
I am living my best life in this universe. This happens to be a vintage Citizen from '73. Anyway, it doesn't matter. The Timex, Andrew, please, this brand deserves all of the love that we could possibly muster and afford right now. As we're, struggling with people asking for $6,700 for this and $5,000 for that, and the crap in between budget, what are so-called budget brands, and the mid-range is shocking to me. You've got micro brands asking $3,500 for basic movements with trimmings around the case and the dial. This has everything, and it's honestly priced. My God, it's so true.
Okay, listen, we've said it before. We don't actually have to want to buy the watch for it to be a good watch.
Agreed.
We salute the design on this one.
Thank you, Andrew.
Okay.
Thank you.
Listen, we're running over time, so this is going to be very, very short. I want 30 seconds, no more from you on the new Audi.
30 seconds? Okay. 30 seconds. Buy a second-hand Audi R8 V8 first gen. Thank you.
Yeah, that's probably a good call. You remember the C concept that they released? I think it's like a year ago now, isn't it? Which I thought was a fantastic car, and they've used a lot of the styling from the C concept on this, except they've orientated it more towards a petrol engine car. I mean, it's like a reskinned Lambo.
And Andrew, can I suggest something? The GTR did this kind of like solid, large surface work design so much better. And if you look at an R8, it's organic. It was almost like a muscular porpoise. There's a great big dolphin roaring down the road.
Okay, but we've had the R8. Things move on. Well, as you said, if you want an R8, you can still go and buy one.
Yeah,
it's not
but
dead.
Do they move on for the better? It don't move on for the sake of moving on. Do it right or don't do it at all.
Yeah, I like. There's courage in this design. This sort of brutalist design, I think, is, it's eye-catching. It's making a statement, and God knows we need more of that kind of thing. I think the interior is interesting as well. Not great, but interesting.
No. I don't know.
I tell you what, we're not going to do it now because we're over time and we need to end. And I asked you for 30 seconds, and I've already gone way over that. I think there's a bigger discussion that you and I should have, because my biggest problem with this is that it's a petrol car. And I think this whole EV versus petrol is beginning to taint the whole discussion around cars, and I think we need to resolve it.
Okay. And rather than the regular people of Sam Raimi's Spider-Man, that's something else entirely.
We should do movie reviews. People would love that shit.
Well, God knows we watch enough of them, and
we have.
The quality kind, Andrew, not the kind when the shades are pulled.
Subgenres, it's fine. You can have little different channels. Hey, I'm here to clean the pool, but I don't have a pool. Waka 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 bom 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 bom.
All right, baby. We done?
Happy Friday, everyone. Thanks for tuning in.
Friday. Thanks for tuning in.
All the best.
Ciao.
Oh.